more like the Fantastic Four. Get it? Because the movie's ass. That's not a funny joke whatsoever. So, the Fantastic Four First Steps is, I think for most people, the most anticipated Marvel movie of the year. That being said, I can't say that I've really cared much about it. And the main reason for that is I just don't care about the Fantastic Four. Never read the comics, never watched any of the cartoons. Are there even any Fantastic Four video games that I could have gotten into? I don't think so. I mean, I watched the old movies, not the Roger. No, I think it's the Roger Corman ones. I didn't watch like the one that was never released. I watched like the ones with Chris Evans. And I unfortunately also watched the one in 2015. And I just never really thought much of these characters. That being said, I was definitely interested in this movie based off of the trailers. I was like, okay, this like retro futuristic aesthetic. I really dig this. Oh, it's not in the mainline MCU universe, so I don't have to deal with the baggage of the mediocrity that is modern MCU. Okay, I mean that it could be somewhat of a fresh start. That sounds interesting for sure. So, I was going into this movie with some optimism, and I gotta say, coming out of it, it is really solid. I mean, it is the first MCU movie. Well, I'm not gonna say that because I thought Thunderbolts was a very good movie as well. But I don't know. It is the first MCU movie that truly just felt like this is a really solid movie and there's literally zero baggage attached to it. Because even though I thought Thunderbolts was fantastic, I don't know that if you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if you didn't watch Black Widow, if you didn't watch Hawkeye, if you didn't watch, Ant-Man and the Wasp, if you don't necessarily know who those characters are before going into the movie, are you going to necessarily like that movie as much as someone like me? Whereas when it comes to the Fantastic Four, you could absolutely just jump into this movie and it totally stands on its own, which and it's sort of it's the kind of movie that truly does just breathe some new life into the MCU. So let's get started with some of the characters here, right? Mr. Fantastic, played by Pedro Pascal. This is where we just get into an area of like, I just don't really care as much about this as other fans, because I know leading up to the movie there was a lot of discourse around, oh, is Pedro Pascal right for Reed Richards? Does he capture the essence of Reed? I don't know or care about Reed Richards from the comic books. Reed Richards in the movie was a really great character, and Pedro Pascal was fantastic in the role. I know that there's also a group of people that are just kind of like Pedro Pascal'd out. They feel like he's in too many projects, and I don't know, man. Like, yes, is he in a lot of things? Sure, but has he ever phoned in a performance? The answer is no, and he's fantastic here. What's her face? Girl who plays the Invisible Woman? Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. I think she's also great. Her and Pedro Pascal's relationship and the way that manifests in the movie, I think is actually very interesting and definitely like the heartbeat of the movie, I would argue. Then we get into the Human Torch, played by Joseph Quinn. He's actually really great in the movie. He's definitely one of those things where it's like a different take from Chris Evans for sure. Although I don't want to necessarily say it's a different take, but more so a different vibe, I guess. Where I guess Joseph Quinn is like the modern day hot guy. Where it's like, for some reason that I feel like for most of us guys, we don't really understand, women are just really attracted to like his character from Stranger Things. And they're just really attracted to Joseph Quinn in general. And he plays that type of hot guy in the movie, not so much the stereotypical hot guy. Like, by the way, I'm not even trying to make a pun here when I say hot guy. I don't know. He doesn't feel like the stereotypical hot guy that Chris Evans was in his movies, but it works. Like, at the end of the day, he is charming. He is, he's funny, and yeah, he definitely works. Even though like I am confused looking at him, like, is that what women find attractive? Okay. It's not up to me, I guess. Yeah, and then we get into The Thing. I would argue that The Thing is the most shortchanged character in the film, where they just don't do a ton with him. Like, he's just kind of there, and he's really enjoyable. Evan Moss Backrack, I think he's great in the role, but Definitely a character that I could see them exploring more in either Avengers Doomsday or in a Fantastic Four sequel. Then we get into some of the more like villainous characters, like we have the Silver Surfer in here. Again, I don't care about comic books. I don't care about Fantastic Four lore. I know there are a lot of people that were mad because they chose to use a female Silver Surfer instead of the male version of the Silver Surfer. I think it works well in the movie. She's just a good character. I think the way that she interacts with the Fantastic Four specifically, I think really works. I just don't care. I wish I had a better argument. It was like, well, technically, because of this issue in the comics, it actually makes sense that she would be a woman. It's like, I just don't care. I don't. It's whatever. If you, I guess, if you're somebody that was mad about that, I think you'll like. I think you'll like why they chose to make her a girl in the movie. Like, and there is like technically a reason why they like a story reason why they would use a girl Silver Surfer versus a male Silver Surfer. So I think you might end up liking the reason, but at the end of the day, I just don't connect with your gripe in any way, shape, or form because I just don't care if the Silver Surfer is race swapped or not race swapped, gender swapped. By the way, can you even say that the Silver Surfer is a guy? Because I'm just saying, doesn't have a penis. Are you saying that you don't need a penis to be a man? I feel like a lot of the people complaining wouldn't say that. I'm kidding. That's not a serious argument. Yeah. And then you have Galactus. Galactus is actually really great. You know, for whatever reason, executives in like the early 2000s were like, we can't have a giant guy as a villain. It won't work. But you know what will work? Fart clouds. That's what the audiences are craving. You can't have a giant man. That's too goofy. But this new movie takes on the challenge of making Galactus in live action in a way that doesn't feel goofy. And I think that they completely knocked it out of the park. Like, Galactus in this movie is pretty terrifying. He's like I actually like the reason as to like why he's eating planets. It's like it's not like it's not like a super complex thing, but it's I don't want to spoil it, I guess. Although I feel like if you know anything about Galactus, it's not even really a spoiler. But I'll just refrain it by saying it anyways. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, that's what's going on here. I mean, I guess that makes sense. And I don't know. I just think it's interesting, but I don't want to spoil it in case some people don't know why Galactus eats planets. But yeah, man. Overall, it's just a really solid movie in a way that the MCU I don't think has really had in a while, because I feel like even some of the better MCU movies require a bunch of homework, require you to have watched a bunch of Disney Plus shows. This truly is like the first Marvel movie in a while that just feels completely fresh, completely new. And it's kind of going to get tainted with like Avengers Doomsday, because at that point it's all going to get interwoven. But for this brief moment in time, we can cherish the Fantastic Four all on its own. I don't know if I mentioned this, but yeah, the visuals are also fantastic. Like, to be fair, I also thought this was the case with Thunderbolts. Marvel movies are starting to look like real movies again. They're no longer looking like rushed VFX disasters, you know, like Captain America Brave New World, where you can tell that it was all reshot and rejumbled together. Nah, man, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four both visually look very good. Like, CGI is very clean, actually good, like, cinematography and framing and stuff like that. So, yeah, good job on that front as well. At the end of the day, I think that Fantastic Four is definitely one to watch if maybe you've been off board of the MCU and you haven't necessarily been keeping up with a bunch of stuff. This is the movie to jump back into. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.